everybody, it's Amy Rich with amyrich.net, also known as Stampin' Nut and Nutso Stamper on social media. I am going to share a fun fold with you today that I first found from France, or Frenchie Martin, and I want to thank her for the great idea because I love the fun fold. And we are going to use some new products from the 22-23 annual catalog, and the bundle called Sending Smiles is the main feature of my card today, and it comes with a stamp set whose flowers I absolutely fell in love with right away when I saw it in the catalog, and then the dies that coordinate. So I'll show you those in just a second. And then also the host designer series paper called Design a Daydream I will be using as well. So let me first bring in the bundle. So here is the stamp set we saw in the catalog, and then all of these amazing dies. It has the word sending, and then the outline on which you can mount the word sending so that it's like fussy. It looks like it's fussy cut out of the paper, but it's actually a die. And then all of these floral pieces go with pieces here in the stamp set. And then I love these. I love these labels right here, which fit each and every one of the sentiments here. And what I love about it, one of the things I love about it, is that you can use the word sending with all of these sentiments. So sending smiles across the miles, sending all the good luck your way, and so forth. Love that. And then I have a few pieces of designer series paper to share with you from the Design a Daydream pack. Remember, this is a host pack of designer series paper, but you can see all of these great colors and designs. I'm in love. I'm in love with everything. You probably know that about me if you've been watching. And then the back sides are really nice too. But the one that I decided to use is this one here, because it reminds me of the flowers in the stamp set. So it was a nice pairing as far as I was concerned. So I'm going to start with a piece of that designer series paper that is cut 2 7/8 by 3 3/4. And I'm just going to layer that onto my 3 1/8 by 4 BLACKBERRY BLISS. All right, so I'll use my Stampin' Seal and adhere those together, and then I'm going to set that aside because I don't really need this right this second. I am next going to bring in a piece of 4 1/4 by 11 petal pink cardstock, and I'm going to do some scoring on there. So bringing in my scoring tool, I'm going to score it at 2 1/8. And you can see the measurements right there on the screen. And then you can also head to my blog at amyrich.net to find a nice map for you in your cutting and your scoring. And then 5 1/2. So 2 1/8 and 5 1/2. And then we're going to take a piece of grid paper or a ruler or whatever it is that you have handy. And we're going to do some marking on the edges. So I'm going to mark the center of each end at 2 1/8. So 1, 2, and 1/8 is about right there. Actually, I should use this end. It'd be a little bit easier. And we'll do the same thing over here. 1, 2, and 1/8 here. And then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to that other end. I maybe should have shown you that first. I'm going to do 2 1/8 inches from the end over to, you know what, that's not going to work out right here. Let's do this. So 2 1/8. So here's an 1/8. And then we go 1, 2. So right at the 1 inch mark here. And then we're going to do the same thing over here. So line this up at 2 1/8. And then mark it right there. I used the 3 1/8 because this grid paper cuts off a little bit on this side. So just so you're aware, I used the 3 1/8 and went to the 1 inch mark. Then bringing in my trimmer, I'm going to trim off the corners of this Petal Pink cardstock. So I'm going to use the tick marks that I made with my pencil and line those up in the cutting groove of our trimmer. And then I'm just going to cut those corners, like I said, right off. And I'm going to do that on both sides. So I use the tick marks here on the sides, but here I've got that score line, remember. So I'm going to use that score line as my guide to do the other end. So I'm going to cut that corner off and then move it to the other side, lining up my score line and then my tick mark over here on the end. So then you've got two pointy ends, just the way we wanted it. Then I will grab a 3-inch square off that I cut from Petal Pink cardstock. And I am going to do some folding now on my card. So I don't know where my bone folder went, so we'll have to use my fingers or maybe a clear block. I like to do that too. Then I am going to take my square and turn it on the diagonal, and this fits right in here to finish off the front. So you can see our fun fold come together. It is easiest to put my adhesive on this triangle and then add my square on there, because then I don't accidentally get adhesive on the side that I'm not supposed to be adhering down. So now here is the way our fun fold comes together. All right, so remember we had these two pointed ends with a score line on one of the ends, and we just folded that back and then added our diamond shape made from a square. Then I am going to take a piece of 2 3/4 by 2 3/4 BLACKBERRY Bliss and my Time-Worn Type 3D embossing folder, and I'm going to put that in on the diagonal again and run that through the machine. I love my Big Boss. And by the magic of television, it's done just that quickly. Yay. And then that just fits right onto our square on the front. Next up, I stamped and cut out my flowers and my stem. I love how these dies cut the stem and the flower separately, so you don't have to worry about stamping it correctly right away so that everything lines up with the die. So you do the stem, and then the die lines up there really nicely and makes it easy to get it centered. You can see the end of the stem through this little pinhole at the bottom, and the same with the top. You can see the end of the stem right there at the top, and then it just, it's really super simple to line that up. And then we're going to add these to our diamond on the front. So I'm just going to use my Tombow glue and try to be not too generous with it, because I have a tendency to make a mess on occasion with that glue. And then I'm just going to put it right down there at the tip of my diamond, and then off to the right just a little bit. We're going to add a flower here and a flower here, and we're going to do that just a little bit differently. I'm going to use dimensionals, or a dimensional, just at the top of the flower, and then I'm doing the large one first, and then regular glue down here at the bottom, so that it kind of has an interesting dimension on it where it sticks up at the top but lays flat at the bottom. It just gives it kind of a cool look to it. We're going to do the same thing with the little one, but I think it best we use the mini dimensionals for this one. So I'm going to put that mini dimensional at the top, add a little liquid adhesive at the bottom, and then adhere that, oops, Oops, you know what? I think I did that upside down. No, I didn't. I thought I goofed that up. All right, we're good to go. So there is the front like this, and then we can just add our other piece that we put together at the beginning, and that finishes off the front really nicely. I'm going to flip that inside so that I can get this centered properly. There, so cute. Oh, and one more thing. We want to add our little champagne rhinestones. So we'll add a few in different sizes. They're so pretty. I love the pink in those champagne rhinestones. They match really nicely. We're going to use a piece of 4 by 5 1/4 basic white cardstock on the inside. And typically we would put it into our inside of our card just like this. Well, we need to cut those angles, and to get the right angle on it, we can't just put it like this and then cut it off on the edge, because what's going to happen then? There's going to be no pink border. So we're going to pop this out a little further, like that, like a 1/4 inch. And then we're going to take and flip this around and grab our snips and trim those off. So here we've got a larger border here, you see, and now when we slide it back, look at that. It works just perfectly. So I think that was a France Martin tip as well, but I love it. It makes it so easy to cut that. And you know what? I don't want to do that yet. Shoot, I want to stamp this first, so we'll probably end up with a mess here, but we're going to try her anyway. We're going to start with our Old Olive ink, which is what I used on the front of the card for my flowers. And we're going to just stamp it down here, right down here in that bottom corner. See, it stuck to my grid paper. If I had my silicone crafting sheet handy, that would have been the ticket. And then we're going to take the petal pink and the flowers and get those stamped into place as well. My petal pink ink is a little bubbly, and if I just hold it on my paper for just a extra couple of seconds, it makes the bubbles not be so prominent in the ink. All right, let's try to peel this off as carefully as possible. It's on the back, so if I accidentally tear some grid paper off, it's not so serious. I love the Stampin' Seal because you really can take stuff apart pretty easily, and believe me, I would know. All right, so then we're going to add this, and I don't think we need any more adhesive. We're going to add that right like that, and then there are the flower centers yet. So I'm going to grab my Blackberry Bliss. And it's hard to see in my light there. And then we'll do, there are 2 stamps for that. One is small and one is larger. That is how we do that. Isn't that cute? I love this card because it's unique but not hard. And fun folds, I think, are really great that way because it looks like you went to a lot more work than you did. I am really glad you came to watch, and I hope I have inspired you to try this diamond flip fold. And good luck to you. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to private message me so I can help you be successful. And don't forget to check out my blog post that is linked down in the description of this video. Thanks for watching, everybody.